Hey, improvisers, did you know your scenes could become hilarious sketch comedy? Join Improv to Sketch, a live online workshop from the Sketch School where you'll learn the secrets behind turning your favorite one-time improvisations into scripted sketches. Taught by a longtime head writer and director at the Second City, this online weekend workshop is fast, fun, and limited to just 8 participants. It always sells out, so snag your spot now at thesketchschool.com. That's thesketchschool.com. Welcome to Yes Also. I'm Suzi Barrett, and my guest today is the insanely talented Echo Kellum. Echo is all over your TV in shows like Grand Crew and Arrow, but he got his start as an improviser, and he has played on teams at I.O. and UCB, and is now a Groundling. This is one of those great episodes that blends philosophies from different schools, and Echo, who is brilliant at character work, does a great job of explaining his process for developing characters and how he blends the sort of game-forward approach of UCB with a more character-forward approach like Groundlings. He also does examples of characters in here that are brilliant, and especially in the second half, he really does a great job of showing how the point of view of a character drives that character's game. Part 2 of this episode, along with all of our part 2s and an invite to our private Discord, are all available at yesalso.supercast.com. We hope to see you there, and in the meantime, here's Echo. Hi, buddy.
Hi.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to just like sit faced off like this, yeah?
Yeah, but is the camera blocking me? Is the mic, am I good with the mic? Okay. I feel good.
Ryan, is the mic blocking him enough, or should we move it more up?
Just if it's as much of my face it can block.
Yeah, can you scoot down and also and pull
better?
your
And hunch up.
Hunch your shoulders up.
I don't know why I'm like, oh, can we just like I have a blurred face and a deeper voice, and I'm just like, it's like, why is he
put you in front of the blinds and yeah.
Well, when I first did improv, first thing I thought was like, yes, and you're right.
The idea is to support.
Yeah, you gotta support.
I love doing a voice change character.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while it shows up in a show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I am always trying to play characters in shows, like constantly.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So fun.
I'm always trying to be on stage during a show. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's important. I've been doing street shows.
Oh, really?
So not stage, is just walking down the street and I'm doing a show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm an audience to life. So if I ever saw you, I would be your audience.
Would you pay?
No.
Okay.
Not even a little bit.
Well, I'm used to doing free shows. So
yeah, there you go.
Works.
Have you always been a performer?
Yes. My entire life. Since most of my early thoughts for sure. I was doing church plays.
Oh, cute.
I was like 5 and 6. Like first thing you get a little poem. It's like 4 lines, and then you go and read it. Uh-huh. But I considered that acting.
Sure.
I was like, hey, I got to recite some poetry.
Yeah.
About Joseph.
Sure.
Because we had a big focus on Joseph.
It was Joseph on the cross. He's like, you have no idea how hard it is to be the support.
Oh, my church really loves stepdads. No, but we do.
Joseph had to do all the commutes, all the driving back and forth, and on donkeys.
Oh my God.
And
can you imagine trying to discipline Jesus?
Give
and he's
me a
like,
break.
I'm going to tell my daddy, like, hey, okay, fine, Jesus. Right. You can nail that carpet into the floor. What is he going to ever do? What's going to ever become of this?
Right. You took my toys away? Poof. I have more.
Oh, dang. Jesus, stop turning all the water into wine.
Sorry, I'm drunk now and you're going to hell. I told my real daddy.
No. Can you imagine Joseph goes to hell because he tried to discipline?
I mean, he may have. We won't find out until the end. And that's my first question. I want to know what happened to JFK, but first I want to know, did Joseph go to hell?
I mean, first of all, it's a great question. Thank you so much for asking me.
Yes,
I grew up very religious, as I told you about my church. It's up there. It's up there.
Did you feel like during those days it was like, oh, you were hamming it up and loving the stage, or was it like this is just kind of what everybody was doing?
Oh, I was loving it.
Yeah.
I was loving the stage. Like I would watch my brothers and sisters. They were part of this thing called the South Shore Culture Center.
Sounds cool.
It was very cool. They have like the government gave them gave them a little grant, and so they were doing like arts and things with people in poor communities. So I would watch my brother and sister perform at this South Shore Culture Center, and Craig Robinson's mom was like the pianist.
No kidding.
Yeah,
cool.
And so I was already like, oh, that's exactly what I want to do. So whenever I got the chance, I was just like soaking it all in.
Yeah. Where was this? Where was home?
Chicago.
Oh,
Chicago.
Right. I knew that. Yeah.
So this is like South Shore 71st, like South Shore along the lakefront.
Okay. So when does it transition from I love this, I'm living it up on stage to I'm going to make a run at this, I want to be an actor, here we go?
Yeah. I mean, I knew pretty young that I was like, oh, I want to be an actor. Like I would watch, In Living Color. And so I was obsessed with Jim Carrey for so many years. And Will Smith and like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and all his movies, Bad Boys. I was like, oh yeah, I have to be an actor. So then I started doing like all the school plays, and I was like Martin Luther King in a play or different things like that. And I remember like just the crowds going crazy, like, and it's probably only like probably like 70 people, but to me it was like a full low SoFi stadium like back but I just remember loving that feeling and that rush of being like, oh man, I did a good job at that thing and getting to act. But where it really took a turn for me was when I was 12. My mom got me into this agency called KRP2. It just had like a flyer, cast call. Hey, are you an actor? Are you a kid? Come be in this. We're kids and people too.
Do your parents have money and want to stand in line at the mall?
That was pretty. It felt like one of those like John Robert Powers thing. I was like, really? But my mom like paid this little thing, and then you had to do these workshops, and then she picked kids from the workshops that she would actually put in plays. And so we would actually get to perform in front of thousands of kids. Like I had to get a work permit when I was like 14, freshman year of high school. I did multiple plays with this entrepreneur, this young woman who wanted to start a kids kind of production agency for live theater. So I started doing that at like 13, 14 and knew I was like, oh, I absolutely am an actor. I was getting paid for the work. It was really
amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
You were in the pocket.
I was in the pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did so your mom brought you to that. So she was already kind of supportive and fostering
super supportive.
And,
She was like, if this is what you want to do, fine.
Great.
Like I'll support it. So yeah, she was very much a big component of that.
We love mom. How did this transition then into comedy specifically? And what brought you to LA? And I
think comedy came a little bit later because I wasn't ever like, oh, I'm a comedic actor. Obviously, a lot of comedy is what I grew up watching. So, like, again, Jim Carrey and I would be doing Fire Marshal Bill impersonations and all that stuff like that.
Of course, all of us. Yeah.
But I just consider myself a general actor. And then comedy kind of came into the realm when I started doing commercial work in Chicago. I was basically scouted at a bar that I was working at with one of our patrons, and she's like, Echo, you got to come be this agency. Like, you're just so, I was like, oh, I am an actor, but, I just haven't done it in so many years or whatever. And so when I started going out for commercial auditions, I was like, oh, it's a lot of improv stuff. And I was getting like success, even though I had never taken improv or studied it. I tried to audition for a diversity scholarship at Second City, where they were like, nope. And I was like, okay.
Yikes! So what a dumb move on their part.
What a move, Second City. You know what you did. And I was good. No, I mean, who knows what I was doing then? So maybe I didn't have what I formed eventually. But that was really my foray into like, something about this comedic thing. I'm doing pretty well at these auditions. So when I moved to LA, the first thing I did was sign up for iOS because I worked at Geek Squad for a few years, and my manager was literally at Improv Olympic performing, doing improv. And I was like, God, I always want to do it. And I was like, how much? $300? Like, whoa, never mind. Like, so I don't know why I was like, that money was like so much to me then.
That's such a like scene from like just a workplace comedy. It's like, that's like right out of like Superstore or The Office or something. Like your manager in his Best Buy gear is like, cover my floor shift for a second. I gotta change this polo shirt for a button-down shirt and go do a quick set.
100%. Yeah, because they did wear those button-downs back then. Yeah. And so I'd see him and his like pictures of him and his friends, and I was like, that's so cool. But I knew when I moved to LA, I was like, oh, I know IO has that connection to Chicago. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to just start taking classes at Improv Olympic West so I can like figure out more of the theory of it. And like, maybe I'll even do even better at commercials because I already had a natural gift for it.
Yeah.
So I started studying there, and just the first class I just fell immediately in love. And then I did a workshop with Dave Rosowski and was even more captivated.
What did you fall in love with in that first class? Like, how was it different than what you were imagining it?
I think the thing to me that was really like, no way, was when I realized I can do anything up here.
Oh.
It's like I can literally be in space up here.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, yes. And I was like, no way. And something about that was just like, that is so cool. I can like do anything. And it just, you know, I became obsessed with improv. Like after I did that first class and did Dave Rosowski workshop, I went to shows every night. You know, I did workshops, I did little study groups, like whatever. I was just consuming improv.
And all of your scenes took place up in space.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, we got to figure out this Teflon situation. Like whatever, you know, it's just space specifics, you know.
Play to the top of your space intelligence.
Of course. Yeah. You taught me that.
Oh, thank you for remembering.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the Rosowski workshop. What do you remember about it, and why was it different?
It was just so chaotic and fun. And he loved it. And he was also so good at it. And just that was really the class that really, the first class I loved, Dave Hill, great guy. I loved it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I did Dave Rosowski class and I was like, oh my God, no way. This is this. He just had this love and this fun, and the way he talked about it and the way he moved throughout it and the examples he gave, I was just like, this is incredible. So he was just like, I think I was so lucky to get to watch one of the masters like teach, and he was in LA, and it was just incredible.
And his angle in teaching is like, he really leans into the like, I'm an acting teacher. Like it's like, I mean, even like there's like pictures of him, like I think on his website, like the head picture is like two people doing a scene and he's like laying on the floor in front of them. And it's like, you are really leaning into this like 70s Juilliard like image. Yeah.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah.
Passion is great.
Yeah.
It's and that to me is such an unsung ingredient of a good teacher.
Yeah.
It's like if they love it and they're in there with you and seeing stuff with you with bright eyes, they're gonna bring some spark.
100%. And he sparked something definitely inside of me that was like, I think I want to do this for the rest of my life.
I think I want to do a scene not in space.
Yeah, I think I can do a scene on Earth now. Well, let me do Mars first. Let me do Mars and then I'll get back to Earth.
Yeah, right. I can keep going far. There's wormholes. I'll get back. Yeah.
And now we're in the Horsehead Nebula. Can you even believe my tentacles? Yeah.
You see like a row of auditors like,
this guy.
He needs one more year. So now you're obsessed, you're doing all of this. You have since then done UCB and Groundlings. What order did those come in, and how did paint the journey?
iOS I started October 18th, 2009.
Are you one of those weirdos that knows
the date? Yeah, because I remember I moved to LA October 13th, and then I was like,
wow,
right into the diving board, right into improv class. And I was like, whoa. And so that blew me away. And James Grace gave me an internship once I got to level 4.
Oh, cool.
And so I did the lights like every Tuesday nights for all the main stage teams, which is so fun to get to just watch them every Tuesday and then get free classes. I was like, thank God, not free class, a class for work for internship. Sure. So I did that for a year. I got on their Herald team. I got on like their sketch team. And then I started studying at UCB.
I didn't know IO had sketch teams.
Yeah, they had sketch teams. Yep. I was on a sketch team called Pilot.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What was your Herald team?
My first Herald team was called, I'm trying to think what was our first thing. We eventually became Los Osos. which means the Bears.
Yeah,
which
I
is
remember
like,
seeing that name around.
yeah, and it was so fun to me. I was like, I'm from Chicago, so the Bears is like perfect. Like that. That's great. But what was my first improv team ever was this team called Bobby Hot Stuff. After level 2, me and my best friend Nate K. Wood, who you know, we met in level 2, and our teacher asked us to stay after class the second week. And I was like, oh no, did we do something wrong? Bridget Clough, she was great. And
she was on my Herald team.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love Bridget.
Yeah,
she's great. And she's like, I want you guys to audition for this team that performs Friday nights in the loft. And we were like, okay. And then we both got on Bobby Hot Stuff. And so we got to start doing like shows every Friday night very early on in our improv journey. That definitely helped me become such a better performer, like just getting thrown into it.
If you were to like be humble and put just like a clear lens on and look backwards, what do you think she was seeing in you at the time that you were already up to?
I think she just saw this level of boldness that even if I was gonna fail, I was gonna fail boldly.
Yeah.
And I think she just saw something within that. And I've always gravitated toward playing characters as well. So I think she just saw some spark. I remember we did this, like she had this exercise where we had to do emotions or something like that, and anger. And I remember like even seeing Nate, and I didn't know Nate at this time, and just we both were like really going for it, like to a 10. We really went for it. And it was, I don't know if that was the exercise. That might have been exercise. She was like, I don't know. She might have already thought it was good. But after that, I just remember that I was like, oh, was it the exercise that made her see something in us? You know, but whatever it was so great. And we got to start performing. And we got to start performing with Bobby Hot Stuff. And that was so fun. And just like a crash course on like seeing how audiences are not a lot of audiences sometimes. Sometimes there's 3 people. Sometimes there's 20. But it was very cool to get to do a show every Friday.
Yeah.
So that was 2009.
Yep.
Till 10. And then I started doing UCB right after I finished the program at IO. And, you know, to us, UCB was always like the cool place, but, you know, it never really felt like, it just felt like, you know, that's where all the snobby improvisers are. You know, it's just kind of how we looked at it.
Why do you think you had that impression?
I think just because it was like tougher to get to perform at UCB. And, you know, they were like this cool hip theater that came from New York that started at IO as a team, but then they branched out and, you know, it's just a lot more popular than our theater, I think. So, and then the truth, we just didn't know much about it, you know, when you're in your own little bubble, right? But I've always been the type that was like, oh, I want to take in multiple concepts from different people. I don't want to just trust one theater. I was like, I want to really run the gamut and then see if I can formulate how I am as a performer. Take what you like, you know, and leave what you don't.
It's so smart. And especially with a craft like this, where there is no one way to do it. It's nebulous. It's instinctual. It's like, how do you program your instincts just from one philosophy or one teacher's point of view? Like you have to get in the sandbox a little bit more. Yeah. Cool. So you start UCB classes.
Start UCB in 2010. I don't have the date. Sorry.
My God.
What a disappointment this is. Also, Will McLaughlin was in my level 2 class.
Oh, really?
At IO. And then we found out he was like a teacher and performer at UCB. We were like, how? I was just like, that's so cool that he's still like, oh, I'll train here and learn about their concepts too. Like that, I thought that was the dopest thing when we found that out. But fast forward to 2010, I started at UCB. And it was very fun. I never really thought I was that strong at game, right? At like, you know, finding the funny thing in the same and, you know, figuring it out. Where I think things really started to click for me at UCB was when I started taking your class in 401, right?
Oh, that was a great 401.
That was, I think we had such an incredible 401 class. Yeah. But I just remember like there were, you know, another person who really influenced me at IO and when I did level 5, Jim Woods was our teacher at level 5, right?
He and I are very similar in our philosophies.
Exactly, right? And he was the first person to ever taught me about analagous scenes. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, right? So then when I got into your class in 401, I was definitely like, oh, this feels very much like what I was learning in level 5. And like, I'm like, oh, I'm starting to see game a little bit more. You were such an incredible teacher.
Thank you.
I always credit you to the reason why I got on the Herald team.
No way.
Yes, 100%. Because right before I went into audition, I was studying, because I always took notes in every class. I was studying the notes from 401 so strong. I was like, oh yeah, and just remember all the gems and jewels you were giving. I was like, oh yeah, I could do that, I could do that. So like right before I went, I was in those studying, and then when I went to audition, it was like, oh, that was fun. Like I think I did the right, like I did the stuff like Suzi was saying, you know. So
man, I mean, well, kudos to you. You did it, and like my memory of you is of being such a good student. I remember you just like showing up from day one onwards, like sitting literally on the edge of your chair with your little notebook on your knees, like you know, but not buried in the notebook. You're like looking up, like listening, scribbling. You were always like seeking to know more. Like you were never defensive about a note. You were like, oh, okay, so does that apply to this and this, or like, so in this scene should it have been, you know, you were just like a sponge and like a passionate one. Great student to have.
Oh, thank
and
you.
that class was so fun. I remember Aparna was in there.
Yeah, Aparna. And like Trimbor was in there.
Yes.
And it was incredible performers.
Yeah, it was stacked with skill, and it also was a nice mix of like some people were slower players and some, like Aparna was like an assassin, so like could just wait till the end of a group game and be like, I have the button for this. I have the one-liner that'll sew it up. Yeah. Let's circle back for a second and talk about analagous scenes.
Yes.
So for the listeners who may be newer to game, so analagous scenes are like if you're doing a herald and you're going from first beats to second beats rather than just time dashing. So you have like, I don't know, let's say the game in the first beat is like someone like overthinking their vacation and like what to pack, and the irony of like we're supposed to be having fun and relaxing, but everything's overthinking. We could go to a second beat that follows that couple, and now they're on vacation, and now the vacation is all overthought and OCD and whatever. Or we could take the essence of that game and strip away, have it be new characters in a new situation, have it be like an analogy, an analagous scene. So what is analogous to overthinking a vacation? Maybe like overthinking sex or something. Or like, but you wouldn't want to confuse it that it's the same couple.
Right.
You know.
Completely different people.
Yeah. So maybe like overthinking like playing with a kid, like with something that's supposed to be like there are no rules or whatever, and it's like, well, but we want to do the sandbox right.
Right, yeah.
So yeah.
Now, would a doctor say, I don't know, would a doctor say that? I know we're playing,
right.
Oh my God,
yeah,
I'm failing
my son.
You could overthink anything. I'm failing my son,
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun to use that as a tool to like really highlight for the audience and for your back line what the actual core is of what you found funny or what you were exploring. So it's not about the specifics of packing. It's about the comedic essence of this thing. Yeah. Why is this funny? Well, it's funny because they should just be finally enjoying themselves, and everything is overthought. Yeah. So yeah, for you, like, is that kind of what helped start codifying game for you, because it was that like the spine of the game in the middle there?
I think it was, for me, it was just like, oh, this is such a clear cut perspective of how I can see game, right? I know they use those, I'm sure you've talked about this a ton of this podcast, is like, you know, the three types of improvisers: pirates, robots, and ninjas, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've always just been thank you. I've always been such a pirate, right? And so this started to help me kind of get the robotic perspective of my improv together. I've you know, I did Herald Year for 3. I did Herald for 3 years, right? And then we graduated, but I never really felt like I was the strongest game player. I felt like I got game, and then sometimes it would be like crystal clear to me, and I'm like, oh, that's the game. But that most of the time I was just like, I'm just gonna not think and honestly react, and then a lot of times it fell into the game. I was like, oh, thank God, you know.
You play from your gut and from your heart.
Yeah.
Pirate. Yeah. You're gonna like make big, bold moves, and the cleanup players are gonna put the rails around it to define it a little more.
100%, yeah.
But that's the gift of your Herald team too. So you're on Winslow now, a house team. But you have players on there like Dan Lippert and Justin Michael, Mary Sasson, who are all like game machines, robots.
Absolutely, yeah.
Robots are ninjas. Ninjas can do both, right? That's the superpower. Yeah, cool. What did it do for you, like when you got put on Winslow? Did your improv change playing with them?
Absolutely. It made me, I think, because they were all so incredible. So incredible. First of all, I remember after my callback, I was like, fuck, I just got on the Herald team. And then, because I just knew, I was like, oh my God, I think my callback was the best improv I've ever done. Like, I was just like, how lucky am I that I was like in the pocket? And I did not always feel like that about my improv. I try to keep it real with myself, but I was like, oh my God, I was in the pocket. Like, holy shit.
So the fear is I just wrote a check and I don't have enough in my bank account to cover this. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to go. Because when we would watch Herald Nights, it would be like, holy crap, they are so. And as an IO person, I was like, God, they're on another level. They're so funny. And the audience is like, oh my God. So then my first instinct after a callback was like, what have I done? I'm not ready for this. I don't think I'm good enough to be on this stage. But man, I think I just fucked myself because I had my best improv ever.
Shouldn't have read that
I shouldn't have read Suzi's notes. She screwed me. And then they called me. And then I was like, oh boy. And it was like, you got it. You're on Herald. I was like, okay. And then when I met Winslow, I was like, wow, these guys are so funny and great. And it was like, how am I going to keep up with them? Like, it was just kind of that. And then I remember our first show. First of all, I would get so nervous before every show. And for years, I was still, some about performing at UCB, I would just get nervous before I went out, you know?
Yeah.
But our first show was so fun. I was in the first scene. I was like, F it, I'm just going to be bold and we'll see what happens. And it was great. And we had so much fun. Our chemistry was worked so well with each other. And like you said, we had so many incredible, Dan Lippert and Drew and John and Mono and, you know, Mary, Gilly, it was just, man, everyone brought so much specific fun energy to themselves. And it just, I really think it was just so fun to just drop in and know that I'd be taken care of, even if I didn't feel like I could always, you know, figure what the game was. Like you said, always have those incredible performers who could kind of be those guardrails, like, okay, Echo, we got you.
Yeah, and it helps to have both on a team.
Yeah.
Because you don't want like a whole picnic full of just the people who are planning the picnic. You also want someone to show up and be like, I brought a slip and slide.
Yeah,
you know, you want a little bit of like fun and chaos and just let's see what happens. Yeah, it's great to have both.
Yeah.
So talk about like your Herald journey and like the growth that happened. How do you feel you changed as a performer? Not necessarily doing Heralds, could be just playing with Winslow or like just during that time getting stage time.
Yeah.
What do you think changed?
I mean, well, first of all, Herald is such a tough form.
Yes.
It was a tough form. So you're kind of in the fire and you know, you just gotta, you either rise or you fall, right? You sink or you swim. And I think
you either sink in that fire or you swim through that fire.
Yeah, no matter what, you're getting some burn marks. But, you know, they were just such a fun group. It raised my level, I would say, performing with so many incredible people on Herald Night. But beyond that, it was just like really getting those reps in and every week trying, you know, I will say for me though, my improv journey, it was like flashes of incredible, amazing performer. And then sometimes like, what is he doing out there? Like, I definitely felt that on Herald Night sometimes, like that I could be very up or down, right? Like sometimes I would start off a great scene and then I was like, I got nothing. And so like somebody else would have to come in and maybe continue my game or something like that. So I definitely feel like I was, you know, pushing forward, still being bold, but I do feel like I was not consistent enough, like consistently good, like so many other performers on the team.
When you look at that now, what was that? Because now you're incredibly consistent and you never lack. for what to do or say. You come out with a big swing. Like we played Ass Cat a few weeks ago together.
So fun.
It's so fun. It's so fun to play with you. It's like, it's really puts me on the ride. It's like, come on, you know? And you take these big swings at like really out there characters, but they still feel real.
Yeah.
And they throw the rest of us in the world. And it's like, oh, okay, we're coming into Echo's house now. Like, what is this scene? You know, but you never run out of steam. You know, sometimes people take that big swing and by like the, you know, second minute of the scene, the character is disappearing or they start getting self-conscious or they start going, uh-oh, now what? I had that big joke or whatever. Is it that now you're more comfortable like living in the character rather than just having the funny be the thing?
For me, I feel like my big turn for improv where the consistency got way better was after the pandemic, weirdly enough, right? Because I've been performing on Herald since 2011 and still like doing shows. But again, I was like, oh, sometimes flashes of greatness. And then sometimes it's like, what am I doing up here? You know? And then something about the pandemic, I don't know if it's just like actually just having the breadth of experience behind me, it finally started to sink in. But my shows started going from incredible to maybe not so good to like incredible to good. Right. And so I was like, oh, I think I'm finally out of I stopped being like nervous before shows. I don't know. It's just something. I attribute it to just the reps, right? 10,000 hours. You keep putting time and it just eventually just starts to click. Cause I used to always think that when I see performers performing for 10 years, like whoever, like even just watching you guys on the smoke, you were on Smokes, right?
I was on Sentimental Lady.
Sentimental Lady. You watch you guys on Sentimental Lady. Even watching like, I was just like, oh man, when do I get to that place where I'm like, it's just effortlessly fun and I'm not like having to do work and figure it out where I could just like drop in and be like, oh, I'm a veteran at this. And for me, it was like 2021 when stuff started to open back up and came back in. I don't know, like I feel like I needed like that human. I had a big reset because obviously, you know, I went out and shot Arrow for 5 years and to get to perform like as much as I wanted to. But I think it was just like the reps that finally caught up to me. So I just started doing a lot more consistent work outside of the corporate we did, like in 2023, because that was probably the worst improv I've ever done in my life. But it was also nice to be like, oh yeah, no matter how good you think you are, you can always throw up a goose egg. Like that's
so humbling. In our defense, so Echo and I did a corporate show together. In our defense, it was at like 8 a.m. For a bunch of people who didn't know what they were seeing and didn't know what improv was.
Yeah.
Brightly lit.
No one to announce us coming in.
Nope. Just us walking onto a cold, quiet stage in a very large room.
Yeah.
Demanding attention from a bunch of
like corporate execs or something
high
like that.
status, weird white dudes who are like all on their phones. And us going like, hey, what's something fun that's happened to you recently? And they were like,
we want. I think the year before was like the year before we had fire dancers, and now we get improv.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord! But the thing I will say is, I remember when we finished that show and we were all just looking at each other like that. Whoa, that was crazy, right? That was not great. And then we had another show to do with them later,
like after
afternoon.
Lunch, we had to come back.
So I remember that was the longest like 3 hours. Like I have to come back.
I know.
And do another one of these, but. That second show was so much funner.
And do you remember when we arrived back, everyone was like, oh, you guys were so awesome this morning. We were like, huh?
Yeah.
Why didn't you laugh?
Yeah,
it like we got the compliment from like 15 people.
We did.
Oh, we loved it. Blah, blah, blah. Where do you guys? And then after the second show, they were like, oh yeah, where can we see you?
Yeah.
So it always goes to show like you never know how someone's receiving you. Like their silence isn't necessarily hatred. It could just be confusion or politeness or they're tired or what, especially if you're doing an 8 a.m. show.
That's true. And a little hatred, maybe some hatred was in there. Maybe someone's like, I hate what I'm seeing.
Right. But yeah, there's nothing so humbling as a bad corporate show.
Oh man, it's so humbling.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
You are a groundling now.
Yes. I'm a groundling.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's been a fun journey to become a groundling.
You did that post UCB, right?
I did after UCB, yeah. So I did UCB in 2010, and then I did Groundlings in 2011. Started Groundlings, and I did the first 2 classes. They're basic and they're intermediate. They have their format's a little different now. They added another class, but back then it was basic, intermediate. Then you go on to writing lab, advanced lab, and Sunday and stuff like that. So I did basic and intermediate. And I also loved that theater and that perspective because I always thought character was one of my strong suits, like just naturally. And then they really helped hone in the perspective of what character is and like what it meant.
How do they describe it?
They use a lot of cool metrics. They a lot of interesting metrics as well. Like, they definitely use point of view, right? Physicality, how your body changes, right? That's a big one. Vocal inflection.
Vocal inflection. Yeah. How do they define point of view?
Like your worldview, like how the character sees things. And then, and it is very much like that. If this is true, then what else is true kind of perspective in that.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And you start from that point, or you can start from any one of those places?
I think you can start from any one of those places and see. For me, physicality helps me drop into a character more. So like if I do this and I just feel like this is this person. Hello, how are you doing today?
From speaking as this person,
yes.
What could you describe your point of view as?
My point of view. Well, one thing about me is I don't take shit from a lot of people, just from a couple people closest to me, but people who are not close to me, you better back up out of my face because I don't play.
Gotcha. So you have like a small circle of shit taking.
I have a small circle of close people who constantly give me shit. Yes. My mama, my brother, and my husband.
Great.
That's right. Am I a female or a male? I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, you don't need to choose.
I don't have to tell.
Yeah. And I'm never going to give you shit because I'm not close to you.
Because you're not that close to me. That's right. You are unavailable to give me shit if you're not in my circle. It is just not going to happen. It hits and drops. It just hits and drops.
Oh, so I could
You
give
could.
shit, but
people can throw shit all day. Shit is all around us. Throw the shit. But it's not going to stick. That's the difference. People that's close, it sticks.
Gotcha.
People that is far, it just falls to the ground.
Science.
Have you seen that movie, One Battle After Another? Just kidding.
Yeah.
But like, whatever, like that just... Physicality is what I usually use to like drop into character.
I'm very similar. Like that is to me the biggest shortcut to it. Even just like a tiny little gesture, it's like, and then that usually starts producing an emotion. So like if I'm doing this, I feel nervous, and then the why I'm nervous comes through that, and then you are so good at character. It's great.
Don't judge me on that last one, but.
We can just give that up to the corporate gods. And,
gosh.
I want to do some subscriber questions because it dovetails nicely from where we're at. So Evan asks, how do you combine what you learned at UCB with what you learned at Groundlings?
Yeah, I think, one thing that I've learned and I've have so much fun with is also playing characters as the straight man and like trying to like find the game in the scene even as a character. I think I've combined those different play styles depending on if I see the game clearly enough. But I don't believe that every character has to be the pirate or the bull, and that you can still be a character and still be like, that's insane. Why you say that? Oh, come on now. You can't be treating people like that or whatever, like it's still so much fun in playing that. But I do feel like I blend both styles together. I've always just been a component. I forgot what teacher told me this, but it was like, take what you like and leave what you don't, like that kind of thing. So the things that I think I really gel with from every theater I've performed with, I still kind of keep close to myself, even because even I.O. was like the relationship. It's all about the relationship and things like that. So I think I still carry different pieces of each and that and all my improv.
Yeah. Relationship is a nebulous one to me. And I started at IO, and and I do agree. Like I can't disagree that scenes are about relationships. To me, it's the least playable note or the least playable aspect. Like I feel like relationship naturally unfolds and reveals itself while you are playing your emotion or your point of view or whatever.
Yeah.
But to try to like just show what a relationship is, because a relationship is two people. It's like reactive, and I can't get my head around what both of us are. But yeah, all of these are different ways of saying the same thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, it all started from the committee, right? And they all just kind of branched off. I think I'm right on that history. They all branched off and did their own things, and
one went to Mars, one went to the Horsehead Nebula,
and then one was just in regular old space.
That's
just
right,
general space,
not specific enough.
Specific.
And there he sits.
And their theater. Yeah.
Wow. There we go.
And
I'm trying to get one of them on the pod, by the way. I was like,
that would be incredible.
Yeah. This is just a sweet one. This is from Steve. Where do you tend to find most of your funny ideas lately?
Real life situations, things that happen. I write things that happen to me that I'm like, that was a little askew. Let me record that, and I'm going to write a sketch about that. For instance.
For part 2 of this episode, go to yesalso.supercast.com. If you like this podcast and you want double the content, head over to yesalso.supercast.com and subscribe. You can also help us out for free by subscribing to us on YouTube and talking us up to your improv communities. If you have a question that you'd like us to answer in one of our Q&A episodes, or a topic that you think would make a great bonus episode, put it in a 5-star review. If you're a theater who would like to host us for a live recording and improv show, let us know at yesalsopod@gmail.com. A very special thanks to our producer, Ryan Rosenberg, audio and video editor, Brian Kessler, and Britt, Faye, who does our marketing. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. No, we won't, Suzi. That's not how podcasts work. They won't even see us. They will listen to us, so it's actually the opposite of both things you said. Thanks for listening, and you will listen to us next week. Maybe. We don't know.